Hello guys, welcome to your listening skills enhancement version number 2. As you guys already know, most of our skills enhancement lectures have parts. So you would safely expect that the listening skills enhancement 2 has a sibling, and that is your listening skills enhancement 1. So what are we going to do today is to try and understand the requisites of the listening subtest even further. Take note that we already did your listening major here on the channel, so you may want to browse that as well. And if possible, you may want to check out some of other contents in this channel as well. But now our focus is primarily for the listening examination. So basically, the listening exam is the first test. This is also known as the easiest of all the subtests. Remember that this examination composed of 4 sections with increasing difficulty. Well, in the past, we call it sections, but now they are called parts. So do not be confused whenever I say part, whenever I say section. It means that that is the partition in which the test itself is divided to. Now, usually each of the section consists at least 10 points, and in total, you have to undergo a 40-point examination. Now, that is the rule of 3-4. The exam lasts for 40 minutes in total. You have 4 parts, and there are 40 items which you must accomplish. Now, the time itself provided is not a straight full 40 minutes because it will be divided into 2. The first half, or accurately saying the first 75%, which is 30 minutes, is when you listen to the whole listening subtest. So there will be a recording that will play, and you will be listening to the recording. This is an audio, okay? So depending on whether you will be taking the examination via computer or whether you're going to take the examination using a traditional pen and paper approach, then the difficulty level increases or decreases. Now, sir, you mentioned that there are 2 ways in which you can take the exams. One is a computer delivered, yes, and the other is the pen and paper based. So in computer delivered IELTS, you'll be given a headphones in which you can use it to listen to the audio file. So now, if you're going to use a traditional pen and paper based, then you will be sharing the same room with other students. Particularly, the examination is held in a hotel, depending on the location in which you're going to book your examination for. And there, you will be listening to speakers. Okay, so those are the differences. Now, also, when you answer, of course, if you're going to do the traditional pen and paper approach, then you have to answer your questions on the test booklet, while you have to directly write your answers, rather type your answers on the computer as you hear the recording through your headphones or headsets. So the candidate will have time to look at the questions before listening and answering the questions. So hearing this would be very common. You now have 1 minute to look for questions 1 to 5. And then the audio will be silent for 1 full minute. And that's how it goes. So you would be hearing that for 4 times for the entire recording, because every single part there is a minute provided for you to prepare for questions indicated in the part in the section itself. So write down your answers on the test booklet first. Guys, hear me out. Okay? You will listen. Yes. You'll be provided with materials. Yes. The test questionnaire, the paper, an eraser, and a separate answer sheet. Of course, if you would be taking the exams for computer-delivered IELTS, then you would not be having any more questionnaires or pencils because you will be typing your answers directly on a PC. Now, you write down all the answers in the blanks that you will see. That is my suggestion. Yes, that is my suggestion. You will see, all right, the lines. You will see some gaps which you have to fill. You will see questions, and then you will follow through the process of the entire recording. And as you do so, again, I want to highlight this even more. You have to take down notes. Okay, note taking is the most essential skill, the single most important skill that candidates like you should possess. No other thing comes closer in terms of importance than taking down notes. Where are you going to take down notes as you listen? On your test booklet. And then, after the recording is finished playing, you will hear this. That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet. Okay, I'm done with my exam, and then I'm going to transfer my answers now to an answer sheet. Yes. So there is a separate time to listen, and there is a separate remaining time only intended for you to transfer your answers one by one carefully. Because most problems in the listening exam happen during the transfer phase. So I want you to be really critical on this. A lot of my students are very hard-headed. I kept on telling them, please, wag kayong masasanay na chinecheckan yung test booklet, chinecheckan pa ang answer sheet unless meron kayong something that you want to clarify for the class to also know. So bakit? Kasi guys, even though your answers on your test booklets are correct, if the answers on your answer sheet are not, your answer will still be incorrect because test booklets will be shredded, incinerated for recycling purposes. Wala tayong habol doon. Okay, kaya it is so much better if whenever you practice, you do the right thing. You sit properly, you listen to the recording, you take down note as you do, and you transfer afterwards one by one carefully. Okay, so guys I would not be repeating this anymore. I hope that we are clear about this once and for all. So, 10 minutes is a very long time just for transfer. So you would not be short on time no matter how slow you are on transferring. Walang nasa-short ng time sa pagta-transfer. So please, wag masyado makokonsyo sa oras. Walang magta-transfer as the audio is being played pa. Ita-transfer doon sa instructed time, which is after the 30-minute recording is over. Okay, so the contents of the exam are the ones which determine the difficulty level. There are more difficult questions on part 3 and 4. That's why most people don't actually have high grades because of the inability to recall or inability to anticipate the difficulty level. So why the first two sections are easier is because those are normal conversations we, normal, regular citizens, have already encountered. So what are those regular conversation? Like asking for a cashier about the availability of, let's say, this particular food, phoning an agency about my application, or perhaps walk in straight going to a review center, which most of you guys did. So you would be inquiring. So most inquiry, most asking for assistance, most socialization that involves the regular conversation of people is regarded in the first section. Now, the second section is just a monologue. So you would expect that first two sections are more of a general skill, general understanding of social context. But the first part, is about the conversation. There are two people that you will listen to, while the second part or the second section is just one person discussing. That is why it is common on part 2 for you guys to experience a map, because a person doing a monologue, giving a tourist information, is mostly common in this part. So you have to be aware that maps could occur as early as the second section already. Now, On the last two sections, you have more academic context. The third section, conversation between up to 4 people, while the fourth section is about giving a lecture and a seminar. For you guys, if ever you have already attended your orientation and diagnostics during the diagnostic phase, I have discussed there that there will be, you have experience there about this old man who is discussing about how to become a chef. So basically, if you would be reminding yourself once again what happened back then, what happened during the fourth section of my practice test in the diagnostic examination, that is when I have encountered this old guy discussing about a lecture, a seminar, a monologue on a specific subject. So more academic context is what we will be encountering, experiencing in the fourth section. So the listening subtests also have various types of tests. We have multiple choice, the easiest, okay? We also have gap fill, classification, also easiest. But short answer questions and lists together with table, flowchart completion, note completion, sentence summary completion, even labeling maps, diagrams, or plans are considered to be difficult. Now, the recordings may also include a range of accents. Previously, on the previous week, or rather, 2 weeks ago, I have uploaded my accent classes for British and American. So we still haven't, Australian and British, we still haven't undergone this American accent lecture, so it will be soon. Now, multiple choice. So I want you guys to see how the actual test looks like. So this, sabihin niya sa inyong recording, you now have 1 minute to look for questions 1 to 5. For example, this is your question 1. Question 1 nakalagay, guests in the show not included. So what I'm going to do before the audio begins playing is I'm going to encircle keyword that would help me out, that would give me clues to understand what answers would be suitable for this particular situation. Now, head of the mechanics in the Ferrari Formula 1 team, Northwest Motoring Association representative, in-car satellite navigation salesman. So I am looking at 3 options here, which guests are not included. So I am going to eliminate the ones which will be mentioned, and my answer is the one that is not included in the list. So here is an example passage. I'm going to read this to you now. I want you guys to listen very carefully. Welcome to the Motoring Week. My name is Beth Williams, and we have a full program for you this afternoon. Later on, we'll be taking a look at the very latest arrivals on the in-car satellite navigation market, but there was no mention about salesmen, and talking exclusively to the head of the mechanics in the Ferrari Formula 1 team. Now, I have underlined this Ferrari Formula 1 team. It was mentioned on my previous question, so which I'm going to let you also see later. So the head of the mechanics of the Ferrari Formula 1 team is included as a guest, so definitely I will eliminate that. But first, today we'll be speaking about the phenomenon that has at some time or other affected us all, road rage. You know the deal, some reckless, thoughtless motorist cuts in front of you on the highway or pulls out without looking, and all of a sudden the red mist descends and we seem to lose control of our thoughts and actions. Neil Adamson from the Northwest Motoring Association. So Neil Adamson is the representative of the Northwest Motoring Association, is here to speak to us today about road rage in general, in particular about the surveys the organization has just carried out. Neil, welcome to the show. So nabanggit ang head of the Ferrari Formula 1 team? Yes. Nabanggit ang Northwest Motoring Association representative? Yes. But the one which was not included was the in-car satellite navigation salesman. Therefore, that will be my answer on my test booklet. Now, gap fill, alright? Ayun na siya ulit. Ano daw yung descends? The red mists descends. And going to talk about blank in particular, going to speak about the survey in particular. So, if you guys want to go back to my slide, kasi medyo mabilis yun, you may take a screenshot and then listen to this again about how it was mentioned. So, in classification, this is how it is, okay? So this is the entire table for your test. Let's say this is section 3, for example lang, okay? Now, this is your sample passage. Ika-categorize mo lang sa alin dito yung integumentary system, alin dito yung skeletal system, alin dito yung muscular system. So you just have to write I if it is integumentary, S if it is skeletal, M if it is muscular. Sabi dyan, protective barrier for the human body against microorganisms. Tapos includes hair, nails, sebaceous glands, odoriferous glands, and the largest organ of the body, the skin. So nakita ko yun sa aking table, nalagay ko I. Okay. Next, skeletal system is protection, shape, support for the human body. Additionally, the skeletal system provides attachment sites for the organs. So once I see the attachment sites for the organs, isusulat ko sa tabi niya S, which means skeletal system. Also provides movement to the human body as a whole. Tapos, additionally, the muscular system functions to maintain posture and produce heat. The muscular system consists of skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. So all I have to do is to arrange them in order as I listen to them, and this is how you answer your classifications. Okay, now labeling diagrams or maps also is one of the most difficult thing to pull off. And I want you guys to be very critical on this as well. So, when it comes to labeling a diagram or maps, okay, what I really suggest, what I highly recommend is you guys take note or trace the map. So, I want you to use your pencil. I want you to draw directions. I want you to draw an arrow that has, it seems like a cross. So, syempre sa taas, that's the north. Tapos sa baba, that's the south, west naman yung left, east naman yung right side. I want you to draw that. Why? Why do I want you to draw that? Because I want you to be familiar with the directions. Because meron din tayong mga secondary directions, meron din tayong mga words that gives directions. For example, we have the northeast, we have the southwest, we have the center, adjacent, nearby, neighboring, adjoining, transversely, from corner to corner. All those words exist in your listening test. So you have to make sure that you are familiar with those words. This is an example passage, all right? So, all right now, does everyone have a ticket? Yes, good, then let's go. We begin our tour here in the main gallery. So, dun daw nag-start, sa main gallery. Here you can see our collection of modern art. So, you're going to ask yourself, merong main gallery, merong blank sa ibaba, what am I going to do with that particular blank? That means I'm going to fill that blank, which is the factor of what the main gallery has, and that is modern art. That is what's being featured there. Now, moving ahead to the next room, now we are in the city gallery. Now, this is the city gallery. You went there. This is the room where we feature local artists. Yan. And then, sa Hall of History naman is wonderful collection of portraits of famous figures in city's history. So, you will be listening to that particular section. I want you to take a screenshot of this. And then, let us go back to the map on the next slide. Okay, main gallery. What do they have in the main gallery? Okay, what do they have? Which features local artists? The city gallery. Okay, and then the Hall of History naman is portraits. Okay, that is how you're going to label them. You're going to listen to them. You're going to use your words, your notes, note-taking abilities to fulfill the gaps here. Now, another sample passage here to our right is the East Room. Isn't this a beautiful room? So I don't have any other clues kundi beautiful. The view of the garden is just lovely. You'll see there are no paintings in here because this room is devoted entirely to sculpture. Nakita mo, may garden, may para mga bush na din drawing, mga 2D na bush. At saka may din drawing din na sculpture. Alright? Nakalagay dun sa baba niya, sculpture. That is your East Room. Now, sa East Room, beyond East Room is the gift shop. Second paragraph ako na you may want to visit it after you have finished looking at the galleries. You can buy reproductions of art in the museum's collections as well as souvenirs of the city and many other lovely things as well. So nakita natin yan. Okay, dun sa baba, wala daw paintings because this room is only devoted to culture. Tapos may view of the garden daw, which is lovely. Ayun yung mga bush na 2D. Tapos gift shop. Reproductions of art and souvenirs. Hindi mo na kailangan ilagay yung and souvenirs because na-mention na siya dun sa line. So, reproductions of art would be the ideal answer for number 18. Sa 17 naman is East Room. So, trace the map, label the map, as you listen. Okay po yan. Practice, mock, maski sa actual examination, ngayon pa lang masanay na nagte-trace, ngayon pa lang masanay na nagsusulat sa test booklet. Okay, marking 1 point for each question. Total score is then converted to 9-band score. Remember that there are barriers to listening. Number 1 is accent, another is speed. For you to be able to recognize accents effectively, I want you to attend accent training lectures, which are uploaded here in the group. For speed, we can't do anything anymore with regard to speed. So what you could do is to make yourself more familiar as to how the speed of the listening test is played by listening to your CDs all day long. If you're not doing anything, if you don't have classes, I want you guys to listen to the CDs all day long. Now, there are only 3 things you need to do in a listening examination. I want you to read and understand what the questions are asking. I want you to listen carefully and focus and take notes, particularly for questions with classifications or maps. Both of them require these essential skills. Now, the 3 stages of listening in IELTS, we have the before stage. Read the questions involved in the recording. The recording will always tell you how many questions you have to answer and what the situation is. Make assumptions. Try to guess what words will fit in the gap and anticipate what you're going to hear. Sabihin dyan, you will now hear 2 students asking about their summer vacation. You now have 1 minute to look at questions 1 to 5. Question number 1. Diba? How did Kevin spend his summer vacation? Okay? Hi, Kevin. How did you spend your summer vacation? Well, I just stayed in the dormitories. So how did Kevin spend his summer vacation? Stayed in dormitories. Yun lang. O, diba? So you just have to anticipate what you're going to hear. Taking down notes and getting as much clues as you can, even if the recording hasn't played. That 1 minute, gagamitin mo yun specifically for you to understand clues which you have to include and clues which you have to have ideas about, because they will give you better chances of what notes do you have to take and what situations you are going to find yourself in. Nakalagay dun price, nakalagay day, nakalagay time. Then of course, you should expect that when you hear times, prices, dollars, yen, pounds, euros, you have to, consider them as answers. Diba? Names, days, so all those possibilities could exist, okay, in the before stage in the listening exam. Next is during. I want you guys to listen intently, listen carefully, because the recording is only played once. Take note. Note taking is very essential. And last, after the listening test, read the questions on the next section. Every after section, you will be given a minute to prepare. But every after section, you will also be given 30 seconds to check whether you've gotten all those answers correct. How generous is the listening exam? It is extremely generous to give us these amount of times to prepare and to check. Talagang maximize nyo yung time na yun. Rules in writing your answers. Read the instructions carefully. Usually there is a limit to the number of words you can write. Make sure your answers correspond to the limit. Check your orange book, page 29. Next, format is very important. What types of format do I have to include? Also presented in the listening major and in your orange book. So please read them out. So singular answers must be singular. Plural answers must be plural. There are some clue words which can help you. Nakalagay are. So ang sagot mo ba before ng are, blank. Tapos are is person or people. Naturally, you should expect that people is your answer because are yung kasunod niya na verb. And that means plural must be your answer. Observe proper tenses. Wrong tense equals wrong answer. I want you guys to always remember the be verb. The is, are, was, were, am, and the be. Every time you see them, it requires either a present participle, but mostly a past participle, like be seen, be observed, be taken, be able to, be answered. So lahat ng sagot na yon, okay, kailangan niya, lahat ng be, kailangan niya ng proper tense. Dahil kung mali ang tense mo, mali ang iyong sagot. At doon madalas nadadali ang mga students sa formatting at saka sa tenses. Kasi pati nga spelling eh. So please pakiayos ang handwriting. Sir, tanong po sa spelling, pwede ba mag all caps? Yes, yes, yes. All caps, preferred listening, preferred natin yan sa reading, but not in writing, because in writing, capitalization is also part of your assessment. So, make sure you spell the words correctly. Na-discuss ko na to sa formatting ng British and American spelling. Kung merong naunang format ko, kopyahin nyo lang po. Avoid contractions. They are considered 2 words. Okay? Huwag din gagamit ng mga shortcut like international, INTL, pwede na yan. Philippines, Phils na lang, pwede na yan. Hindi po. Okay? So, no acronyms. No to that. Tips: the best skill to learn is to take down notes. Words that are spelled put are usually important. Be careful. The speakers sometimes correct themselves. The first thing you hear might not be the correct answer. When they say, oh, sorry, it was not May, it was June. So you erase May by striking it through using one line on your pencil. You do not use your erasers, because mauubusan ka ng oras. There are instances in which the examiner or the recording rather would present the answers all together. So if medyo nagbubura ka pa lang, hindi mo pa nasusulat yung sagot, binabanggit na pala niya yung sa kasunod na number, sa kasunod pang number, so na-miss mo na siya. Okay, so be careful ha on that. Always read your questions and know what to wait for. Use your anticipatory techniques, particularly in part 1. Part 1, dapat perfect nyo lagi lahat yan. Okay? Some answers can also be found in other questions. Pay attention to as many clues as you can. Do not leave any blanks. Provide answers to all questions even if you have to guess. But I have already discussed this. Do not use any guesses. Use your hypothetical guess. Balikan ulit ang listening major. Doon ko to diniscuss kung paano gawin si hypothetical guess. Erasures are allowed on the answer sheet. Cross out errors with one line. Sir, nagkamali ako sa answer sheet. Doon, pwede na po ba akong gumamit ng pambura? Yes. Erase it slightly. Kasi ang tendency pagka nagmamadali tapos buburahin using eraser nasa answer sheet niya is baka mapunit yung papel. Take note ha, even though 10 minutes is a long time for you to transfer your answers to your answer sheet, it would be a problem if nasa number 40 ka na, ang remaining time mo is like 3 minutes na lang, hihingi ka na naman ng panibagong papel for this special occasion. So, how can you become a niner? Becoming a niner in listening is actually very easy. Just have to practice. Get used to the accent by attending accent lectures. Get used to how fast they speak by listening to your CDs, listening to your flash drive that contains the practices. There are many practice tests on your orange book as well, which would be helping you out. Also, we also have yung mga mock exams. Meron din tayong mga average, easy, tsaka difficult listening. So, attendan nyo din yung mga practices na yan. Making assumptions during your listening exams help you focus on the things you need to look out for. Read the questions and determine what kind of answers you need. Focus on getting them. There's no other way. Remove distractions. Focus. Listen intently. Listen with the intent of getting your answers right. Formatting ha. Meta for the British meter is not the same as meter for American. So sir, what is the problem with spelling? Well, you just have to be consistent. Kung meter na American ka all throughout, which I suggest because in the Philippines, we are mostly aware of how the American spelling works. Now, when it comes to capitalization, capitalize na po natin lahat. What else? Pag may naka-indicate na doon na unit of measurement, let's say, nakalagay na doon, dollars, tapos blank. Pag ang nilagay mo sa answer sheet mo, nililipat mo na, di ba, is 50, tapos may dollar sign, mali yun. Kasi 50 na lang dapat ang ilalagay mo. So, you do not give anything that is already given. Okay? Madalas din may mga nagkakamali dyan, so you have to be careful. Sayang naman yung 1 point, di ba? Okay? Number of words allowed. Pakitingin din po sa orange book. Meron po tayo niyan. 3 sample. Doon sa listening major, nagbigay din ako ng 2 sample. So, busog na busog po kayo sa sample just by attending those. Please read your orange book, page 29, about unnecessary adjectives. Okay lang po ba, sir? Kung ang sagot ko, let's say apple, nilagyan ko ng A, an apple. Sagot ko chair, a chair. Sagot ko the dog, tapos ang sagot lang po niya, dog. Yes. Okay? Pwede po kung ang sagot natin may A, pwede po kung ang sagot natin may an, pwede kung ang sagot natin may the, o kahit wala sila. Tama pa rin ang sagot. Okay. Chronological order, some answers would not appear in order. So you consider 3 items all at once. Speaker corrects self. Last, sorry, I forgot it was May. So hindi na June yung sagot, May na yung bagong sagot. Words repeated, spell out, those are automatically answers. Halimbawa, mga names, you don't have to be careful. We don't have to really worry much about names of places, names of people, credit card number, telephone number. Yan, yung mga yan kasi inuulit nila yan. But again, if you are going to get it right the first time, it would be so much better. Tenses, gender, and spelling are also very essential. So please, for improvements in listening, you attend your reading major, okay? Or rather, your listening major, which is already uploaded here on the group. Meron din tayong listening skills enhancement 1, and this is the final skills enhancement for listening, your listening skills enhancement 2. Take note, meron po itong practice, na after this class, I will be uploading the files you need, the audio files you need for you to be able to practice there at your place. Para sa mga students ko na ayaw lumabas at gusto magstay lang sa bahay throughout because of, COVID. So, that's the end for listening test, listening skills enhancement. The test is coming up. Have a nice day ahead. God bless and good luck on your exams. Goodbye.